It's been about 7 weeks since I shared my last video. And first of all, I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for everyone who has been reaching out and asking about how I've been doing. I also wanted to apologize for disappearing like that. I did have a good reason for it though. I am currently 14 weeks pregnant with our first baby. So in today's video, I just wanted to share a little update. What has been going on and a few learnings that I had along the way. After that, we will then slowly go back to my usual content about minimalism. I'm genuinely so happy to be back. So last October, we found out this amazing news. But the way I found it out wasn't exactly that beautiful. I was doing really bad health-wise. I was sleeping 16 hours plus a day and I felt nauseous all the time. I could barely get out of bed. There was just no energy left for anything. And at the same time, I am self-employed, which means I still had to somehow show up with my clients. So my only priorities for these weeks were sleeping, resting, doing the bare necessities for my work. And that already leads us to one of my first biggest learning during this time. I'm usually a very active person. I get things done. I'm productive and I can really rely on myself. Suddenly, none of that worked anymore. I couldn't even go outside with my dog. So I had to learn quickly that I needed help. Therefore, I started outsourcing things. For example, I really value a healthy diet, but I couldn't cook at all. The smell alone made me feel so sick. Interestingly, I could eat the food as long as someone else prepared it for me. So I asked my parents for help. And I also ordered fresh frozen meals that I could easily prepare. And on top of that, I really had to learn to let go. At the beginning, I tried to keep up with all my routines, but that only made things harder. At some point, I just stopped trying. And you know what happened? Almost nothing. This was honestly the best advertisement for minimalism. We didn't really keep up with the household. Things were really far from perfect. And still, it never really got messy. Our kitchen is so small and easy to maintain. Even when we did nothing for weeks, it was never really overwhelming. Even my clothes. Usually, I fold everything properly. This time, I just threw everything into the drawer. But because I own so little, it was never a problem. And that was such a powerful learning to me. And it gave me a lot of confidence for what's coming. With this kind of minimalist setup, it almost feels impossible to completely fail at life. I wanted to share this because I feel like minimalism is great when you feel good. But it's even more valuable when you don't. It catches you, it holds you, it makes hard phases less heavy, and it helps you to get out of a rut much faster. Now I'm 14 weeks pregnant and I couldn't be happier. The first weeks were incredibly hard, not just physically but also emotionally. I felt terrible, but I also couldn't tell it to anyone. And at the same time, I had to keep my life going. Then at week 13, we finally reached that bigger doctor's appointment. And we knew that everything is fine with the baby. And that's when I could finally breathe again. And I could finally start sharing the news. And around that time, about 1 week ago, something else happened. I woke up and I felt like a completely new person. It was almost unreal. Suddenly, I had energy again. I felt light, happy, and so grateful. Exactly like doctors describe it. The first trimester can feel very hard, then suddenly it can get better. And that's exactly how it was for me. And I'm so grateful that I can now finally enjoy this pregnancy to the fullest. That said, after 3 months of basically just surviving, I picked up a few bad habits. I'm usually not someone who scrolls a lot on my phone. I prefer creation over consumption. But when you lie in bed all day, at one point, even reading felt exhausting to me. So I started scrolling a lot. I also developed some not so good food habits. Because I felt nauseous all the time, I basically ate carbs all day long and I wasn't moving at all. When I finally felt better last week, I had so much more energy, but all my routines were gone. And getting back into them was somehow not as easy as I expected it to be. One thing that has really helped me is an app called Streaks. You can add small habits that you want to build. And every day you complete them, you can close a circle. It's simple, a bit gamified, and surprisingly motivating. I started with very easy habits. For example, my 10,000 steps a day, and then 10-minute workouts. I did 10 minutes in bed workouts from YouTube. It was basically nothing else than just circling arms and just start moving. I also added 10 minutes of daily cleaning, practicing French, and some other small routines. I've completed them every day for the past week, and that alone built so much confidence. Confidence that I can come back, that I can rebuild routines, and that I can trust myself. I'm still very careful with my body, of course. I listen to it. But since I do have energy, I want to move forward again. So if you need a little motivation boost, I can highly recommend that app. Now I want to talk about minimalism, pregnancy, and family life. While I was pregnant but couldn't share it yet, one of you guys asked me an interesting question below one of my posts. Whether minimalism influenced my decision on having a family. I think the question was meant in the sense of chaos, but for me, it was actually the opposite. When I was younger, I couldn't really see myself as a mom. And that changed when I started to live more minimalistic. My life became calmer, more joyful, more organized. And with that, this idea of having children felt less scary. I felt like I actually have something to give, a way of living that I would love to pass on. So in a way, minimalism brought me closer to this decision. And of course, having met the right husband helped a lot. But overall, I feel incredibly calm about it. I have no real fears about having a family. Another question that I ask myself is if I would feel anxious of this thought that maybe a family can also bring some chaos, especially since we still live in our small apartment and we are planning to stay here for the next few years. I thought about this a lot actually while I was laying in bed in the first trimester, and I came to the conclusion that especially newborns, they don't really need so many things than we maybe think. Social media shows us these perfectly prepared baby rooms, but when you actually research it, babies don't really need all of that. So the newborn phase does definitely not scare me at all. And later on, I just think alignment is key. My husband and I weren't always perfectly aligned about minimalism in the past. But over time, he's kind of seen the benefits as well. And now we are much more on the same page. I am sure and confident that our children will grow up with these habits quite naturally. And if they don't, it's fine too. I would never force minimalism on anyone. I just right now feel very grounded, and I'm very confident that whatever is gonna come, we will figure out a solution. Because minimalism, after all, it's a tool. It's not an identity. I don't really identify myself with this extreme minimalist that I used to be. I've settled into a more softer version. As a family, we will probably own more things, and that's fine. That's normal. But that doesn't mean owning excessive things. And it definitely also doesn't mean that I now have to buy everything that gets advertised to me. I'm actually quite resistant to that because I know how marketing works, especially during these life changes. So far, I haven't had to buy much at all. We will buy some things secondhand. We will also get some things gifted. And that's fine. I'm just genuinely excited about this new phase. So now that you guys know what have been going on, I'm very excited to move forward with my usual content. I wanted to pick up where I left it in December. That means a video about my 7 years of minimalism and one about how I keep my digital life clutter-free. So yes, I'm back and I will try my best to stick to my usual content schedule. And I also have a question for you guys. Would you actually be interested in some pregnancy and maternity related content? Things like what we actually needed for our newborn or how minimalism transitions into this phase. I would of course always try to keep it general so that everyone can take something from it. I also will keep our child private. Privacy is very important for both my husband and I when it comes to our child. So I won't really be sharing footage or too much personal details. But I could of course integrate the topic naturally if you guys would be interested. So please let me know in the comments where you guys are at in your life right now and if you would be interested to see more of that. So I see you guys next week with a new video about 7 years of minimalism, reflecting on my journey. Thank you guys so much for staying here while my channel was inactive. It really means a lot to me. I talk to you guys soon. Bye!